My name is Jared James. If you aren't familiar with me, I'm best known as an entrepreneur that gets the unique opportunity to coach and train agents and brokers in the real estate world and speak at conferences in front of thousands of people. But it wasn't always that way for me. What separates me from so many others is that I've actually done everything that I want you to be able to do. For that reason, this is the place to come if you want to learn the strategies needed to succeed in today's marketplace. This is the Jared James Today Show.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 1, numero uno, very, very exciting, of a new thing we're doing called the Jared James Today Show, which can be found on social through hashtag Jared James Today Show. Very, very cool, guys. We're doing this for a lot of reasons. As many of you know, we do a JJ Off the Cuff show, which we may or may not still keep doing, but I wanted to do something that's more of like a training type of thing, where, you know, we get a lot of videos, a lot of emails, a lot of messages from people on very specific things that they want taught, and we always get, can you do a video on? Can you do a video on? And so this is a great way for this to become a resource, for this to become the place that you go to get your information you want for your real estate business. We have people who follow us from all over different industries, but especially real estate business. So make sure if you're watching this right now on our YouTube channel, there's a little thing in the bottom corner, little logo, click it, or go to youtube.com/Jared James Today. Subscribe to our channel. There is a ton of great information that's coming out right now. We've already done a few videos in the last couple of days. This is the new one, first one, episode 1, and I think it's going to be a huge advantage for so many of you. And that's why our first topic that I want to cover today, what this show is going to be about, is about what you really should be doing in the first 6 months, 12 months of your real estate career. This is probably, if not the most, it's one of the most requested questions that we get. Would you guys agree with that? It's pretty much most requested. Most requested questions we get is either from brokers who are trying to train their agents, or from just agents overall, like, what do I do? What do I need to be doing? Like, how do I become successful in this industry? I say this all the time, but it's true. You know, you go and do 60 hours or whatever your state requires of your classes that really just teach you how to pass an exam. They don't teach you how to run a business. And that's why a lot of us are getting into this industry and we're failing. And we're working with brokers, and the brokers are doing the best they can. They're trying to train you. They're trying to do what they can. But most of them are brokers. They're not trainers, and so they're not able to do that. And what we also find in this industry, and I want you to make note of this. If I was tweeting right now or whatever, this would be a tweetable moment, okay? I want you to remember this, and it's so true, and this will make sense to the brokers listening and to the agents they're hiring. Brokers hire on talent. You will succeed based on skill, okay? I want you to remember that point as I go forward right now. Within this first episode, brokers hire on talent. You will succeed based on skill. Because the truth is, once you get involved in this industry, everybody's talented, okay? Everyone is. But a very small percentage really succeed on the level that they deserve to, that their potential brings them, because they just rely on that talent like they've done with everything else in their lives, and they never took the time to actually build and continually build their skill set. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, okay? So brokers hire based on talent. You will succeed based on skill. You know, I've been teaching a lot lately that I believe that there's 4 different categories of real estate agent, 4 different categories that you fall into within this industry. And one of those categories is the one we're going to talk about today, which is the startup, okay? It's the people, and by the way, that's whether you're 6, 12 months in. I think you're going to find a lot of this stuff. It's like a Venn diagram, applies to a lot of different people in this industry, whether you're brand new or not. But the startup are the people who are always having to start up, whether they're actually a startup or whether they're 5 years from now still continually trying to start up. And it's why NAR says 87% of all people in real estate fail within the first 5 years, because they were hired based on talent, but they never took the time to actually learn skill. And as I said before, they sure as heck weren't learning it in their classes, okay? So that's like the 87%, they're the startup, they're the, okay? The next level is the unfortunate 13%. They're the people who make it past 5 years, but they're still paycheck to paycheck. You know a lot of people like this. You may be one of these people. And that's not the point of this video, though, this episode, so I'm just going to move on. The third people are they're the top producer question mark, okay? They are the people who are top producers in their area. They're known in their office as like top 5. Everybody wants to know what they're doing. But the truth is, you know and I know, if you're one of those people, that you really succeeded based on your talent and not necessarily on the idea that you've built your skill over and over again. You just had a higher potential than everyone. You're not necessarily doing it the right way. And then the fourth category is the Twilight Years. The people who have been doing it forever, they've kind of given up. They wait for their phone to ring, but they've checked out, okay? I hope that's not you. you no matter what age you find yourself at, but that is a category. But today, we're going to talk about those startup. First 6 months, first 12 months, what are you supposed to be doing? And I wanted to really reverse engineer on this. I wanted to look at it because obviously there are skill sets and stuff we're going to talk about. But I wanted to reverse engineer and say, why is it that people do or don't succeed as a brand new agent? And I can tell you from my perspective, we work with thousands of people. I can't tell you how many questions I get in, how many, whatever it may be, especially from new agents. And I wanted to reverse engineer and figure out, let's go to the end before we go to the beginning. And what is it that's actually stopping them from succeeding? What is the thing at the end that is kind of the crux of it all that nobody really pays attention to? And I really believe when I reverse engineer that it's a confidence issue, okay? How many agents, how many of you listening right now, how many times have I heard from agents, especially newer agents, that say, look, I'll work with buyers, I just don't want to do a listing presentation. I'm scared to death to do a listing presentation. And they're scared why? They're scared because it's a lack of confidence. But let's talk about why there's a lack of confidence. And that's going to get us into the 4 steps, the 4 things I want you to focus on. The first one is going to deal with exactly what we're talking about right now. Number 1, as a first 6 month, first 12 month, or a startup agent, that you need to do is very simply practice, practice, practice. Okay? Why do we need to do that? Well, we talked about when we reverse engineered this lack of confidence. Like, why don't you have confidence? What I know is that a lack of confidence always comes from a lack of certainty, right? I mean, that's really where confidence comes from. When I walk into a situation and I know that situation, here's a stupid example. When I walk into a store and I get some kind of a good or a service or something like that, and I walk up to the register, there's no like, oh my God, are they going to take my money? Oh my God, is this how this works? Oh my... I walk right up to the register, here's a $20 bill, give me my change, we just made an exchange, see you later. I have complete confidence in that situation because there's certainty. I've seen it done over and over again. We all know that that's how it goes, it's just how it works. And when there's full and complete certainty, there is confidence. And when there's confidence, there's a believability about what you're doing at that moment, right? When there's a lack of confidence, there's a lack of certainty. It's the same thing why so many men are afraid to go up, or vice versa, but usually men are afraid to go up and ask a girl out because there's a lack of certainty. There's a chance she might say, what are you, what are you, nuts? Are you out of your mind? Like, you're a 3 and I'm an 8. Like, why, nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to hear somebody say that to them. Like, nobody, so there's a lack of certainty, which ultimately equals a lack of confidence, right? Do you know one of the reasons why I am so confident on stage in front of thousands of people, or even better yet, in front of 50 people, which is actually more difficult to speak to than thousands of people, is because I stay in my lane. There's an old example of like swimmers. They're not looking left or right. They're right in their lane, and there's no fear that they're going to drown or anything else. They know what they're doing. They're in their lane. This is where they're comfortable. This is where I stay in my lane. There's many times that people ask me to come and talk on a topic at a conference or whatever, and I go, no, that's just not something I talk about. I might be good at it, but it's not where I'm completely confident, okay? I always am confident on stage because I'm in my lane and I have full certainty about what I'm talking about. I'm not worried about, well, what if this comes up, or what if someone asks this question, or what if, because I'm fully confident in that area, the things that I talk about. I'm in my lane, so to say, right? And so that's why when it comes to real estate, if you're ultimately going to commit to this as a career, not as a, let me try it out, let me give this a shot, let's see, I saw someone make money, maybe I'll fall into it, maybe I'll, those kinds of things. But if you're actually looking to this as a career, as a place that you're going to build a predictable business and one day have a saleable asset that you're able to make money on, like if you want to look at it like that, you have to practice, practice, practice. You have got to become so good reading all the articles about what's going on in the industry and what's going on in your neighborhood, and watching training videos from guys like me and others, whoever it is that speaks to you the most, that really you hear them, you get them, and start learning exactly what to say, when to say it, how to say it, the tonality, these kinds of things that matter. Tonality matters. You need to go watch, I just did a thing on how to win the listing. and it was a crash course on exactly what to say, when to say it. You need to internalize that stuff. We got several messages from people saying how they went into listings more confident than they ever have been, right? I mean, guys, how many of those have we gotten? They're more confident than they've ever been. Why? Because the certainty, the lack of certainty was removed. And now they're going in there going, I know exactly what to say. I know what they're thinking. I know psychologically why I'm saying. I've done it so many times. I've practiced it over and over again. I've watched this thing over and over again. I know exactly what to do. I have complete certainty, which means I have confidence. And when I have confidence, how do consumers feel? Right? It's one of the things that newer agents are so afraid of. What if they ask me how long I've been doing this? What if they find out they're one of my first clients? What if they know that there's other people who have been doing it 20 years longer than me? And they have all these what ifs that are going on. When you have confidence, all of those things are not on the table. You know, technically for what I do for a living, right? I mean, I do a lot of things. I'm generally an entrepreneur by nature, but what you know me for, speaking on stage, doing that stuff, I'm kind of young for what most of these guys and gals are for doing this. And yet, when was the last time somebody asked me, how old is he? Or how many of these has he done? I used to get it all the time. Now I'm still technically young. Nobody asks anymore. You know why? Because they look like an idiot. Like, I know what I'm doing. You should know what you're doing. You know why I know what I'm doing? Repetition, over and over. Why is it I'm stepping in front? I mean, let's just get real deal, guys. Like, I'm stepping in front of this camera right now. Am I nervous? Nope. Right? Like I say to you every time, perfection is not the goal. Let's go. Because I know that I'm in my lane. I have no issue pausing and letting you see me think and go, where do I want to go next? Where do I want to go next? I have no issue. Why? Fully confident. Not arrogant, fully confident. Why? I'm in my lane. I'm a swimmer. I know that I'm not going to drown. I know. Because over and over and over and over and over, and so many agents who are brand new, all they care about is, how do I create business? 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 And there's a portion of that that is good. You're going to see that in one of our points. But you're not practicing. You are acting on the same thing, the same reason why the broker hired you. Talent. Talent won't get you there, though. Everybody's talented in our industry. That's why they're here. Every major league ball player is talented. That's why they're here. This is how it works, okay? So you have to practice, 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 get used to that repetition, get used to stay in your lane, start creating certainty. It's like a bull rider. I use the most ridiculous examples. I'm well aware, guys. I'm sorry, but this is how my mind works. But it's like a bull rider. To get on a bull and try to stay on it for 8 seconds or 7 seconds or whatever the nonsense is literally insane. Like, it is insane. And yet they've seen it done so many times, they've done it themselves, that they just go, well, I'm going to try, and then he's going to throw me off, and I'm going to run off to the side. Like, that is insane. But they've seen it done so many times, they have complete certainty that that's just how it works, right? That's the power of repetition. Creates certainty, which creates confidence. Practice, practice, practice. It's one of the main focuses of our one-on-one coaching with people. Practice, practice, practice. We need to work on your skill set, okay? Now, let's move on to number 2. The second thing you want to do is you want to get a mentor. Now, there are 2 levels of mentor, but the main part I'm talking about is whatever brokerage you're in, hopefully they have some kind of an option where you can go on listing appointments with somebody who's like you but knows how to do it, somebody who's been doing it for a while. If not, look outside of your brokerage. You can go with other agents that you're friends with, whatever it is. Why do I want you to do that? Because it's important for you to see the very thing that you're afraid of. Most of the things you fear completely, the things you have no confidence in, that you have absolutely just no certainty in, most of the stuff's never even true, never even happens, okay? But when you go with someone who you're friendly with, you know them, they're not a super human person, and you go see them do a listing appointment or work with a buyer or put together a CM or whatever it may be, you start to go, oh, that wasn't so difficult, oh. And you start to get repetition, 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 and before you know it, you're ready to ride the bull. You know what I'm saying? Like, as crazy as it sounds, you're ready to ride the bull. Now, on the other level that you need a mentor is people like me or other people that are kind of like that higher level. You've got the people around you, you know, whatever, and they're a mentor on one level, and then I get things from people all the time that tell me I'm their mentor, and I don't even know who they are. And so there's that higher level who you go to kind of listen to and you trust, and you're like, that's the voice that I'm going to listen to. That's the one that when they say something, I'm going to do it. You need somebody like that. And if that's not me, that's fantastic. It's all about you. It's about you getting somebody you relate to, you'll listen to, who's going to help you in the long term. Okay? Let's go to number 3. Number 3 is that you've got to find the right resources, which really plays into what I said a second ago, which is those voices that you trust and you relate to. I'm talking about, you know, go and find the articles that you relate to. You know, I write for Realtor Magazine, and there's other people who do too. Go and start reading articles and watching videos on YouTube from guys like me and gals like me and other people, and find the voice, the resource that matter, because chances are if you find an article that I or someone else writes, or you find a video, they have a lot more resources out there, right? So now that you found that person, it's like, okay, let me go and see the collection of resources. It's why I told you in the beginning of this to subscribe to this video, because there's a lot of other ones. If you relate to me now, you relate to me later. If you don't relate to me now, you're probably not listening anymore, right? But that's kind of how it works. But what it's really going to do for you is it's going to help you early on here to learn the right habits now. Do you know how many agents I talk to, how many brokers I talk to 20 years down the road that wish they had learned what they just learned at something I taught them they wish they learned 20 years ago? Can you imagine this? I want you to think for a second, and I want you to go and think to yourself, if you believe that everybody has a certain potential, which is true, every person has a certain potential, and some are higher, some are lower. If I told you that at some point in your career, regardless of what you did, whether you did it the right way or the wrong way, at some point you were going to hit your top line revenue potential regardless. The only difference is you're going to hit it in year 3 of your business, or you're going to hit it in year 30 of your business. How would that make you feel? How would it feel to know that you missed 27 years of top-line revenue simply because you never started following the right patterns, you never started following the right habits, you never had the voice who got you to do the things that you knew you should have done? How would that make you feel? That's essentially where a lot of people are. You have an opportunity as a new agent to start now. Start the right habits now. Get the voices in your life now that you're going to listen to. To get, let's face it too, part of this whole right resources is figuring out now in the first 6-12 months of your business, which products are you going to implement? Which ones are you going to commit to? Products are a part of your success. We hate to say it because we think we're selling things and everything else. They're a part of your business. And there's nothing wrong with selling things. If you don't believe in selling things, you need to get out of this business because it's what you do, okay? But products make our lives easier. You know, can you show houses without a car? Sure you can. You can ride the bus to the neighborhood and walk over. It's going to make your life a lot easier, right? If you want to have a ride the bus to work type of real estate career, go for it. It's going to make things a lot more difficult, okay? Now is the time that you need to find someone, you need to implement right now, what CRM am I going to use, okay? Because, again, do you know how many people we work with, 15, 10, 20, whatever years in the business, and now they realize they need to put these things in place, and trying to organize all of those contacts, everything they put together over the course of however many years is so much more difficult than if you just started now and figured out what those things are right now that you need to be implementing, and take the time right now to build your infrastructure, to build your foundation. Can you imagine, again, let's go that 10, 15, 20 years down the road, which is what most agents do. Can you imagine if 10, 15, 20 years down the road, after your house was built, somebody showed up from town hall and said, you've got to rebuild your foundation? You'd be going, what? I can't it's all on top of it now. Like, I can't. That is what so many agents are doing. And if you're newer or you are still in that startup phase, you have the opportunity right now to build that foundation the way that it should actually be built, okay? So start looking at the products, start looking at the systems that you're going to implement right now. Anything you do more than 3 times deserves a system, and it's going to be easier now before you get so busy that it's difficult to be productive. Do it right now. Build the right foundation now. Now is the time to start running your business like a business, to start tracking and measuring exactly what's going on in your business, to start figuring out the ROI of every single thing that you're doing so that you know as you grow what you need to scale. Again, with our one-on-one coaching, we do this with a ton of agents, and many times we're having to start later on in the process, and now we're trying to get them to figure out what's working, what's not. We start tracking and measuring now everything they're doing, where their transactions are coming from, where they're not coming from, what they're spending on certain marketing, and what the ROI is, what's worth it, what's not worth it. Now is the time to do. Believe me, it is going to be a million times easier if you spend your time. You're already talented. Now's the time to build it, work on your skill set. Now is the time to follow a guy like me or someone else and figure out that you're talented. Now you need to actually get skilled. Now you need to actually run your business like a business. Now you need to do more than just know how to pass the real estate test. You need to know how to now pass life, right? And run a business and create a predictable business and not just follow the patterns that you see all around you where people are just waiting for their phone to ring and they're 30 years in and they don't have any kind of systems in place. Is that really the life that you want to have? Now is the time, okay? Fourth thing you need to do, fourth and last, create opportunities. Again, for any of you that follow me, you know that I believe that opportunities are ultimately what make the most successful real estate people in an area. It's not being the best realtor, it's having the most opportunities. You know someone else you're going to pass this on to knows someone who makes more money than them, does more transactions, and is not as good in this industry as they are, okay? It's about opportunities, okay? I was thinking about this the other day, like the baseball season just started, and the Yankees have this right fielder who's supposed to be a big shot, and he's got all the talent in the world, and he hit a ball 500 feet, and he's amazing, and he's not in the majors yet. He's back in the minors. You know why he's in the minors? Because he needs more at-bats. He needs to strike out, and work on his skill. He needs help learning how to hit the curveball. He needs help learning how to... He's got all the talent in the world. He's not in the majors yet because he needs to strike out over and over again until his skill gets to the level that it finally matches his talent, and now he's ready to be a major league ball player. That is you, okay? You may have passed your test, but you need to create opportunities that allow you to strike out until your skill finally matches your talent, and now you're ready to be a major league realtor. You see what I'm saying? That is really how this works. You know, I say all the time that there's two types of equity within a business. As an entrepreneur, there's sweat equity and there's check equity. And check equity is the ability to buy in. It's the ability to buy into a business, get a percentage just by writing a check. It's the ability in our industry to just buy leads and do those things, which are fantastic. We have a leads department that creates leads for people. We do that kind of stuff. Fantastic. But when you're new, you may or may not have that ability. And so what you need to do is you need to create sweat equity. And now is the time when you need to put in the work that's going to create opportunities. So what is that work? There's a lot of things we can cover. What about things like open houses? If I were new, I'd be doing every open house available to me. And don't buy into that narrative that so many people in the industry are trying to say, that open houses don't work. That's nonsense. The place that open houses were being advertised, the Sunday newspaper, stopped working. But how could you have a central place where potential buyers and potential sellers are taking time out of their weekends to come look at, hanging out, coming to you, and somehow that doesn't work? That's craziness to even think like that. We don't have the skill to convert them in many cases because we don't know what we're doing. We're creating inner narratives that are hurting our ability to do it. But when you start to learn, let's go back to what we said before when we're talking about skills and practice. When you're in a program like ours or someone else and now you start doing those open houses and we're teaching you exactly how to target people correctly, when you've got the cheese that ultimately draws the mice and we show you how to get people to the open house, then we start to train you and you practice on what to say. And instead of when people are coming through, you're going, do you have an agent? Instead you're using the right words, which is, do you have somebody sending you good deals? Which is a completely different question, which gives a completely different answer. Now things start to change, okay? So open houses are a huge one. I'd be doing as many as I possibly could. Direct targeted marketing. You look at things like our new listing prospecting letter, our buyer neighborhood letter, our multiple offer letter, like all of these things that we have. If you have the ability right now to mail them out, go for it. Every Door Direct, I think it's called. Every Door Direct, is that correct? Through USPS.com. It's a cheap way to do it. If you can't do it that way, you're going in your hand delivering. I'm not going to, on this video, go through how it works with the new listing prospecting letter and that kind of stuff. Again, subscribe on YouTube. There's all that free material for you to know how to do that kind of stuff. But those are things you need to be doing all day, every day to create opportunities, to give yourself the chance to strike out a lot and every once in a while hit a single, double, triple home run or walk, whatever it happens to be. What about things like offering yourself as a buyer agent for a busy team or for a listing agent in your area who's extremely busy? Get out there with buyers, repetition, start working with them. Over 50% of buyers are doing what? Selling a house themselves as well. But you need more opportunities, okay? So put yourself in a position where you're going to have more opportunities. What about things like your Core 100? Again, go to Jared James, Core 100, C-O-R-E 100 on YouTube. Free video, how you build your core. I'm just going through a lot of different things in here, but the fourth thing you need to be doing is creating opportunities. But make sure you're ready for those opportunities, which comes from practice. practice, okay? Here's what we're gonna do, guys. I wasn't sure if I was gonna mention this or not, but we are actually thinking about, because of the number of inquiries we get, we're actually thinking of putting together a product specific for brokers that wanna use it with their agents, or newer agents that just wanna know what to do in the first 6 to 12 months. And I'm talking hours and hours of content of step-by-step, what to do, blueprint, here's what you do, here's how you say it, here's how whatever. If that is a product that you'd be interested in, because we don't wanna put the amount of time and money it takes to create that kind of stuff into something you're not interested in. So if you're interested, I want you to go to connectwithjared.com, connectwithjared.com, follow on the social platforms I'm on, send me a snap on Snapchat. You better be on Snapchat. If not, watch the last video I shot, how to use Snapchat to get business. Send me a message on Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever your thing happens to be. Let me know you're interested in that. If I get enough of those, we will create that product for you. Okay, guys? Guys, I sincerely hope that you enjoyed episode 1. A little long. Listen to it while you run, whatever it happens to be. I sincerely hope you've enjoyed episode 1. I hope I get the chance to connect with some of you at like an upcoming event I'm speaking at, being in our coaching program. If you're not in our coaching programs now, go to our website, jaredjamestoday.com. At minimum, especially if you're a newer agent, you belong in virtual coaching. Super cheap, well worth it. But most of you actually belong in one-on-one coaching. Invest in yourself, see the difference, see what happens there. I hope I get the chance to connect with so many of you guys. Episode 1 has been a blast. I'll talk to you guys soon.